Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land within the Shire of Chittering, the Yuin and Whadjuk people. We would like to pay respect to the elders of the Noongar Nation, past and present, who have walked and cared for the land. We acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contributions made to this region. Item 1, I declare the meeting open at, by default, 7 p.m. Thank you, that's close enough. Item 2, record of attendances, apologies and approved leave of absences and announcements. In attendance, we have, by video link, Councillor Kylie Hughes. Councillor Campbell is an apology, not an apology, with approved leave of absence. And we have the staff in attendance. There are nil apologies for this evening. Announcements. Councillors have been requested to confirm their attendance in their role of elected members. Councillors, you have a list in front of you. Are there any additional items other than the spelling mistake in trial?
Yeah, I went to the Warrnambool 100s and I.
Sorry, I can't read.
28th of October, thanks.
Councillor Dewar. That one. Any other attendances, councillors? Okay, thank you, councillors. I'll move on. Item 3, disclosures of interest. Councillors, are there any disclosures of interest for the matters before council tonight? And I have to remind myself to keep looking at Councillor Hughes. Please feel free, Councillor Hughes, to make a lot of noise just to remind me that you're there.
No disclosures of interest.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. There are no disclosures of interest. Item 4, public question time. Responses to previous public questions taken on notice, there are nil. Public question time. Are there any public questions? Thank you.
Hello, Natalie Valance Mouchet. It's more of a comment so that we can actually have something written down in the minutes, basically. Now, what has happened in Mouchet is that we've got some new netball courts being built. A few months ago, I requested a copy of the plans of the netball courts, and I got them a few weeks ago. And I did request back then that there be a geotextile fabric put underneath the asphalt, because I had to redo the netball courts back in 2008 with the CSRFF funding, and one of the requirements was that we put a geotextile fabric down because we had issues with puff balls back then. It's worked because we haven't actually had puff balls since 2008, apart from the edges, because there's been so much mess made around there of late. When I had a look at the plans, there was no geotextile fabric down to stop the puff balls from coming. So when I sent an email through, I was informed that the best possible standards have been looked at, and that there is effectively 300 mil of base that's been replaced, and it's at a greater cost to the geotextile fabric as well. That was recommended to go down by the community. There is some copper sulphate in amongst the asphalt to stymie the puffballs, which is basically just a fungus. It's just a mushroom, essentially, coming through the surface, which is good. That will last a good 12 months, maybe 2 years. But it really is a matter of, if we don't stick something permanent down there, we will get the puffballs come through the netball courts, tennis courts, the multi-purpose courts in the future. This may not happen for however long that copper sulphate lasts. It might be for 2 years, it might be for 5 years. By then, many of the existing executives may not actually be here, but we will, and we've still got a $5.5 million building down there, and we won't be able to get any funding to redo the courts. So my request is that this be reconsidered, geotextile fabric be laid prior to the asphalt being put down. That is my major concern down there at the moment. I wasn't going to bring it up again until I went to the Miche user group meeting on Monday, and I said, look, I've just given up. I'm sick of arguing with people. And everybody said, what? You've given up, Nat? So I thought, look, I'm just going to bring it to you. I just want it recorded in the minutes that we really do want a geotextile fabric down. I actually have no idea of cost. I haven't had time to look because I still have a business to run, and I can see, I really don't have any confidence that anything will change, quite frankly. But I do want it written in the minutes that we've actually requested this as well months and months and months ago, prior to all the digging up of the foundations and so forth as well. But again, nothing has happened. It's just a shame that the locals are just not being listened to. There's been signs removed that were actually purchased also by the local sporting groups, and they've just been removed and sent to demolition as well. They were at the cost of $2,500 and so forth.
Well, thank you, Natalie. We'll have to get that recorded in the minutes. We need obviously a question. So
the question
as I understood your question,
is that the question is, are we able to have reconsideration for a geotextile fabric to be laid underneath the netball courts in Miche?
Yep. Okay, that's the question.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's what will be recorded. In the absence of any other, we can respond to that now, but we'll respond formally. But we'll record it in the minutes, and we'll give you a formal response accordingly. Unless you want a response now, but you've heard the response previously.
There will be a response. That'll be any difference.
Okay, we'll give you a published response in the reply. There's no more public question time, so I'll go into item 5, presentations, petitions and deputations. There are nil. Item 6, approve applications for leave of absence. Do we have any applications, councillors? No.
No.
Item 7, confirmation of minutes. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation that the minutes of ordinary council meeting of council held on Wednesday the 18th of October 2023 be confirmed. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Ross, thank you. Councillor Angus. Councillor Ross.
No, all good, thank you, Mr. President.
Councillor Angus.
Nothing, thank you.
Councillors, anyone wish to speak against the officer's recommendation? Anyone wish to speak for? Thank you. Council, I'll declare carried 7-0 without debate. Thank you.
Would it be 6-0?
6, I apologise. I forgot we're one short. Thank you, Councillor Hughes. The next item is special meeting of council. The minutes of the special meeting as published on the website to be confirmed. Councillors, that is your officer's recommendation. Can I have a move of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Angus, thank you. Councillor Ross, thank you. Councillor Angus.
No discussion, thank you.
Councillor Ross. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillors, in the absence of anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried 6-0. Thank you. Item 8, announcements from the presiding member. I did think of something. Just have to get my notes. 1 minute. Okay, I just wanted to make mention of the Warrnambool 100-year anniversary, and I'd like to thank the community members and the club members for putting the event together. It was very well organised, it was very well attended, and I thank them for their efforts. So congratulations. I haven't seen the drone footage yet, but I look forward to seeing the 100 that was worked out with all the people standing in that sort of configuration. So, but thank you very much for the Warrnambool people for organising an excellent event. And thank you for the heaters too, because it got very chilly later on. I'll just make note that the special council meeting was held on the 27th of October, and I say congratulations to the returning councillors. So also thank you for your confidence in my continuing role as Shire President. So I look forward to working with you all in the best interests of the community. So thank you very much. That's it from me. Item 9, reports. First item is DS01, application for development approval, landfill and rehabilitation of a clay quarry lot 9001 Wandina Road, Lower Chittering. Councillors, can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Angus, thank you. I'm happy to second that. Thank you, Councillor Angus.
Thank you. This item is for development approval for landfill and rehabilitation of a clay quarry. While I can quite understand from some of the submissions that there may be people living nearby who are not particularly happy about this landfill going on, I think rehabilitation is something that in recent applications we insist upon, a plan for rehabilitation at the exhaustion of any type of development like this. And I'm confident that with all the conditions and advice notes in the officer recommendation that eventually it will come to an expected outcome that we would like to see, and it's just a fact of life that we have to go through the process to get it to that stage. So I'm happy to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. All right, I'm going to repeat a bit of what Councillor Angus said. So the property is currently a disused pit, with no requirement by the original proponent for rehabilitation. So since then the property has been sold without any requirement for rehab. The current proponent's activities serve to rehabilitate the pit in the longer term and return it to agricultural land, which I think is quite important. Otherwise we'll be left with the legacy of a pit unrehabilitated. In my view, the conditions of the approval are fair and reasonable. They're in line with other approvals. I do note the 3 letters of support and 4 letters of objections, but I'm confident that the conditions in the officer's recommendations addresses these concerns, and on this basis I support the officer's recommendation. Councillors. Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. Really just I'd like to agree with the comment you've made about the conditions. I'm heartened to see the depth of detail that is provided in the conditions. It gives me some confidence of kind of the thoroughness that the process will have in this approval.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Curtis.
Mr. President, I've got some worries about this recommendation. What would be stopping the operator delivering contaminated waste there? Who checks on that?
Can I refer that to the Chief Executive Officer?
So they would be operating under a license and they would be regularly visited by Department of DEWA. So if they are in breach of their license agreement, then they would face penalties like we would face on our own tip.
Would they have regular inspections like our landfill sites get inspected by
Yes, they
DEWA?
will.
Yeah, similar. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Councillor Hughes or Councillor Dewar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, Colin.
I was just going to say I concur with many of the comments made about the degree of detail of the planning conditions, and I agree that we have been working towards getting some very rigorous conditions put onto these planning proposals, especially when there has been concerns raised in the community, and I'm happy with the conditions that are on this one.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Dewar?
Yeah, no, look, I'm not totally happy with it. I concur with Councillor to my right here. Yeah, I mean, goodness knows what could end up in this massive great pit, and, you know, if we're relying on DEWA or other government departments to scrutinise this, then, you know, I don't know. So, no, I don't particularly like it, and to get it back to full agricultural property at the end of the process, I would be highly sceptical of them actually doing that, so I don't like it.
Thank you, Councillor Dewar. Councillor Angus, right of reply?
And yeah, only to add that despite the number of recommendations and advice notes in the Officer recommendation, the initial application already included numerous management plans, including dust management plan, noise management plan, and also including the type of waste that would be accepted to the site. So I have confidence that while nothing is infallible, they will make their best efforts to ensure things go as expected. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillors, that was right of reply. Councillors, I will put the officer's recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4. Against? 2. Carried 4, 2. Next item of business is technical services. There are nil items for technical services. Corporate services. First item of business is CS01, list of accounts paid for the period ending 31st of October 2023. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation to that effect. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Angus?
No.
Sorry, Councillor Ross. Seconded. Councillor Curtis. Apologies. Councillor Ross.
Not a great deal to say. It's all of the standard it needs to be for us to be able to review it properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Curtis.
Yeah, Mr. President, yeah, I accept the officer's recommendation. Apart from one account there, plumbing at Bindoon landfill, there's no plumbing out Bindoon landfill, is there?
I'll ask the CEO to...
I've lost it now. I had it on the
So I'd have to take that on notice. I suspect it was when we put up the health and safety required equipment for the face wash station, but I would have to take that one on notice.
oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Curtis. Councillors, anyone wish to speak against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Ross, right of reply not required?
No.
Council, in the absence of anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried 6-0. Next item of business is monthly financial report for the period ending 31st of October 2023. We have an officer's recommendation to receive the monthly financial report. I'm happy to move this one. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Ross. Thank you. I guess some statements and then some questions. I guess looking at the outstanding creditors, I noticed there was $193,000 outstanding, of which 96,000 or 50% of that was 90 days overdue, and nearly 72,000 was 60 days overdue. So that accounted for 37%. So between the two of those, there's $168,000, or 77% is overdue by greater than 60 days. So my question of the Chief Executive Officer is that unusually high compared to previous years? It looks high.
So I don't think it's unusually high for us. I would have to get back to you with what exactly is included in the debt, but I think we're doing quite well with the bulk of our recovery, and these might be other items that I'm not aware of as I'm sitting. I'd have to get back to you on that.
I guess I was trying to understand whether some of these outstanding debtors were as a result of the difficulty in the current economic climate that people are facing, and whether it's relating to the non-payments of monies.
Yeah, so the one thing I do know is that our rates recovery is on par or better than previous years. So that if that's a reflection, that's things are returning more towards the normal. Mm-hmm. I'd have to see which other outstanding accounts are in there.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ross. Nothing from Councillor Ross. Councillor, is anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Okay, right of reply is not required. In the absence of anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried 6-0. Next item of business is Chief Executive Officer section. First item is CEO 01, Work Health Safety Statistic Report for October 2023. Councillors, we have an officer's recommendation to receive the report, which includes the monthly report, incident reporting and training, and site inspections and safety observations. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Angus, Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus for the seconder, I think that was the intent. Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm particularly encouraged to see the amount of alcohol testing that was done in this reporting period, with 33 tests undertaken. The near misses and incidents are just one of those frustrating things you wish to avoid, but they all appear to have been addressed adequately after they've happened, with the intention of avoiding future occurrences.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus.
And only to add that I'm also happy to receive this report and think that the CEO is doing a good job in maintaining safety as best she can, and also the training and development, I think, is important to see that that's happening as well. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation?
No.
Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Ross, right of reply, not required. Given no one speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried 6-0. Next item of business is CO02, scheduling of ordinary meetings of council for 2024. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation that lists the dates for the ordinary meetings, and also the dates for the agenda forums and the location of the meetings. So, can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Oh, Councillor Curtis. Councillor Angus. Councillor Curtis.
Mr. President, I'm happy with the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Councillor Angus?
I agree the same. Thank you.
Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Curtis, right reply not required. Council, with no one speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried 6-0. Thank you. Next item of business is CEO 03, Wheat Belt Development Commission Board nominations. Councillors, before we start, there are no nominations in the officer's recommendation, so we would need a nomination. So does any councillor wish to nominate for delegate and deputy, I guess it is?
Could someone explain what it is?
Yeah, so I'm going to move suspend standing orders for a short time so we can have this discussion and provide that information. So I move to suspend standing orders. All those in favour? Carried.
I'll second it.
Sorry, seconded. Councillor Ross. Right.
Angus.
I did.
Councillor King, Councillor Angus, second.
I should have worn my name badge.
Oh no, sorry. Yep, 6-0. Thank you. Okay. So standing orders suspended. Perhaps Councillor
The Wheat Belt
Ross
Development
provides
Commission
further information.
is one of the regional development conditions of commissions of WA, so it comprises, it deals with development of the 42 shires that comprise the Wheat Belt. It's a high-level advisory body to the state government. Its composition includes the CEO of the Wheat Belt Development Commission plus some council representatives from any of the 42 shires, plus some community representatives. A few years back, when the Labor government was first elected, it reduced the size of all of the regional development commissions. So unless it's changed recently, there are, I think, only 2 or 3 council reps from the entire 42 shires. So one of the points I would make about this is there's no particular need for us to nominate anyone, but if we have a councillor who would be very keen to take on the role, then certainly we should nominate someone.
So you're saying there's only 3 councils in the Wheat Belt are on it?
Yeah, out of the 42 shires, there will only be 3 councillors. And if you are there, if you're on the WDC as a council rep, you're actually there to represent 42 shires. You're never there to represent your own shire.
So all the shires are regional shires?
42 shires in the Wheat Belt. The Wheat Belt
yeah,
generally
well,
is
you know,
peri-urban, so it
Is
goes...
Wheat Belt Albany or, you know, what
No,
is it?
that would be Great Southern. There's Metropolitan Perth, which is one region, and there are 9 other regions, so like Pilbara, Gascoyne, Midlands, Goldfields, Esperance, Great Southern, Peel, so there's a number of them. The Wheat Belt is mostly the ring around Perth, so it goes east to Westonia, Yilgarn, that far. Obviously goes to the coast, so Gingin, Dandaragan. South it goes to Narrogin, Corrigin.
So there'd be enormous disparity between what people want in Gingin, for example, and Westonia.
Sorry, Councillor Dew, what was that?
There would be an enormous disparity as to what people from Gingin would want and people from Westonia would want in terms of development.
For sure, for sure.
So and there's three councils from 42 shires, from 42 Wheat Belt, so-called Wheat Belt shires. And how often do they meet state government?
Sorry, how do they?
How often do they meet state government? You said they met state government.
They're appointed by the minister, the people who are on it. So the WDC collects the nominations, makes a recommendation to the minister, and the minister is the person who appoints. The commission then meets, I think that's been reduced. When I was on it, it was meeting every month, and we would meet around the Wheat Belt. So we might meet in Narrogin, or we meet in Calabarin, we've met in Northam a few times. So you kind of travel, but I think the travel has been cut down because of funding issues.
I think it's fair to say, even if you nominate, it doesn't mean you're going to be...
Oh, absolutely not. No.
So, be appointed by the Minister.
That'll be who you know, of course, but yeah.
And when the royalties for regions grants were running, that was administered by the Webuilt Development Commission, so that board would receive the applications and decide which ones to recommend to the Minister for funding. But of course that function has disappeared now, there's no equivalent running.
So is there any point to actually being bothered with this?
Unless it's an area you're particularly... I enjoyed it when I did it, which I did for 3 years, 4 years, 3 or 4 years. But if you're not interested in, particularly in regional development, no, there's no benefit to being on it. Because as I say, if you're there, you're not there about your own shire, you're there to represent local government in 42 shires.
Right, not a lot of chance of getting much done, really.
All right, is that enough discussion?
Thanks, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
So I'll move to resume standing orders.
Second it.
Councillor Angus will second it. All those in favour of resuming standing orders? Carried 6-0, thank you. Okay, councillors, we have an officer's recommendation here. No, someone's got to move it. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Don't need a name.
We've got no nominees.
We'll let it lapse. So we're going to let it lapse. No one's moving it. It lapsed for want of a mover. That's what I was trying to do. Next item of business is item 10, reports of committees. COM 01, Chittering Bushfire Advisory Committee, unconfirmed minutes from Tuesday the 17th of October 2023 and scheduling of 2024 meeting dates. Councillors, I have an officer's recommendation to that effect. Can I have a move, please? Councillor Ross.
I'll second it.
Councillor
I was
Dewar.
there, yep.
Seconder, thank you very much. Councillor Ross.
Very little to say, Mr President. This is an excellent group of people who do very good work for us on a volunteer basis. We have useful discussions, and this time we've set the meeting schedule for next year as well.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Dewar.
All good.
Nothing to add. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Anyone wish to speak for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Curtis.
I'd speak for the recommendation. Just the, Mr President, the number 4 point there, says here, request the CEO to hold discussions with police about installing a point-to-point camera in Bindoon. What's anything happened there?
It wouldn't have happened yet because the resolution hasn't been endorsed yet.
Okay.
So once...
Sorry, I'll jump in the gun.
A little bit. Once council's voted on the resolution, and that gives the CEO a direction to deal with that point 4. Okay, Councillor Angus.
Speaking for it, I was also going to comment on point 4. I was pleased to see it there in the hope that it might slow down some of the trucks moving through town, day and night, although it does seem that most of them are immune to speed cameras, but it'd be interesting to see the outcome. Thank you.
Councillor Angus. Councillors, anyone else wish to talk to the item? The other thing I'll add to that is it is pretty self-evident when you're in town that a lot of these, there's quite a considerable amount of speeding, particularly after hours, when not many people are around. So I think if we can get the support of the WA Police to at least consider point-to-point, then at least we get an average speed over the stretch, and we get a chance of sort of slowing down some of the traffic because they move pretty quick.
And from that, they could maybe slow the speed to 50 k's or something.
Possibly. Thank you, Councillor Dewar. All right, Councillor Ross, right of reply.
Very little, just to make the comment that item also is related to the general issue of the ammonium nitrate trucks going through and the danger to the township if one of them is in an accident and catches fire. So it's about improving safety in order to avoid those vehicles in particular being involved in accidents.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillors, there was no one speaking against the officer's recommendation from my recollection. I'll declare carried 6-0. Next item of business is COM 02, Local Emergency Management Committee, unconfirmed minutes from Wednesday the 23rd of August 2023. Councillors, we have an officer's recommendation to receive the unconfirmed minutes. Can I have a mover for that, please?
I'll
Councillor
move that one.
Hughes, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Ross, thank you. Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, as the chair of those meetings, those minutes are a true account of the meeting that we had, and it's pleasing to see that we are getting a quorum for these meetings, because there was a period there coming out of COVID where it was pretty difficult to get all of these agencies together. So hopefully we can continue that networking. So it's quite important that everyone sort of understands who, puts names to faces of other departments. It makes it a lot easier to have that rapport when there is an emergency. So I'm pleased to receive these minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Ross? Nothing to add. Councillor, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation to receive the minutes? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Hughes, do you require right of reply?
No.
Councillor, in the absence of anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried 6-0. Item 11, motions of which previous notice has been given, there are nil. Item 12, questions from members without notice. Council, are there any questions from members? No questions, I'll move on. Item 13, new business of an urgent nature introduced by decision of the meeting. Nil, I hope. Nothing. Item 14, meeting closed to the public. Councillors, we have we need to move it first. Councillors, we have an officer's recommendation. The council moves into confidential session to discuss some following items. CON 01, officer to purchase a commercial property. CON 02, Community Citizenship of the Year Awards of 2024. And CON 03, Education Scholarship Awards 2024. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Ross, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Dewar, thank you. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? If not, I'll declare carried 6-0, and we move into confidential session. Public reading of the resolutions. There is no public, so I won't be reading that. Item 15, closure. I declare the meeting closed at, I think that's 8:15, I think. Thank you.